Picture a world where all your companies communicate through one central hub. A world where all your businesses communicate through one central platform. A business ecosystem that operates through one powerful tool. What if I told you that this world is now reality with Odoo 18? Yeah, you hear that right. From Odoo 18, every aspect of the multi-company environment can be handled with ease. Skeptical? Well, you won't be at the end of this talk. I'm Robin, I'm business analyst, part of the finance and accounting expertise team, and I'm thrilled to take you on a groundbreaking journey on all the brand new features of Odoo 18 related to the multi-company. But before we start, please take some time to scan this QR code that will redirect you to a pad in which you can write down all your questions, and I will come back to your questions later on. So today what we will see is more on a management side, what is our role as a consultant and what is our role when implementing a project. But I will explain you more particularly what is my role as an expert in financial flows. After that, I will give you some tips and tricks on what you need to do and what you certainly shouldn't do when implementing a multi-company environment. Then we'll give you 6 key Odoo 18 features, and of course, at the end, I will show you how great Odoo 18 is when using a multi-company environment. So when we implement Odoo, we need a strong team of individuals. On one side, we have the client's team with the sponsors, the end user, and the ambassador. On Odoo side, we have the project leader, business advisor, and behind them, we have a strong team of consultants and of developers. And actually, we have a team within a team, the team that is responsible of implementing Odoo. And like I said, there is a strong team of consultants, and that's where we are coming in. As experts in finance and accounting, we are there to help our fellow colleagues when they have tricky questions or special flows, and when they need our help to go further in the implementation. Now you, as Odoo partners, you can ask us our help as well to help you on those tricky questions, so never hesitate. On MMC projects, or better known as large projects, well, there our role is a bit different. Because by default, when we are involved in large projects, well, the finance flows are by default more complex. But we can be involved at different stages of the implementation. The key account manager can ask us to be there to ask questions during a request for information, or directly help when doing an analysis. But we can also be involved directly in the implementation and help our clients to implement their particular flows in their financial flows. Now that was it on explaining how we help you implement Odoo. Now some stuff that I want to give you, some do's and don'ts that are really important when you implement a multi-company environment are the following ones. The first do is share the projects and the customers or contacts in general that you need in a multi-company environment. That means that you should never block the system, but I will come back to it. Think at the impact of multi-company setup upfront implementation. That means think about your inventory or your accounting or the sales orders and purchase orders that need to be synchronized from one company to another. And then maybe this one is one that is obvious, but embrace the multi-company features that we have. Because Odoo is giving you the features to help you to ease the usability as a user, so please embrace it instead of trying to avoid those. Then another one is implement one company by one company. You will start with one, see how it goes, and then you will go to the next one. And then harmonization is key, because you have so many companies try to harmonize. Certainly on a financial perspective, try to harmonize your chart of account, your taxes, and so on when you can. Now, what you should certainly avoid in the first point is don't change the one-to-many fields on the product, on the partners on many-to-many fields. So you may know that you either have to choose if you link it to one company or to all your companies. So please don't change it to have it only on some of the companies, because we tried it and we know that you come into a lot of blockings in the system. Second one is don't create branches instead of multi-company. If you want to create a branch, it is a related business unit to an existing legal entity. If you have different legal entities, well, then you need to use the multi-company. Don't use a different chart of accounts per company that you have. Because from Odoo 18, you have a unified chart of account. So just do a mapping into your accounts in order to have a proper report. But I'll come back to it later. And then share the analytic accounting if you use the same analytic structure from one company to another. All right, now the 6 key new features that I think is important when having a multi-company setup is the fact that, first of all, now you have a multiple multi-company synchronization. So that means that you can either choose between purchase order and sales orders and the synchronization of your bills. So you don't have to choose anymore. You now can search for specific companies in your search bar with all the companies. You can reset your choices or confirm your choices. You also have the multi-ledger postings of assets. So that means that when you have one asset, you can now, well, post it on different journals, which is really useful in international standards, for example, or for consolidation purposes, if you would like. And then we have a brand new loan management that speaks for such. And we have the improved financial reporting, and I'll come back to it because we have different improvements to show you. All right, that's enough for teasing. Let's jump into my demo. So now I'm connected as Unveil Belgium, and Unveil Belgium is a music event company, music festival company, because in Belgium we love festivals, and we love it that much that actually we exported our music festivals. And now I'm connected as Robin, who is the owner of Unveil Belgium and has created a lot of companies all over the world. You see that we have, well, different companies in all the different regions of the world in order to be there for any market. Now, particularly here, well, Unveil Belgium is actually the HQ, so it's consolidating the accounts, looking at the reports, and verifying everything. Unveil Supplies is responsible for the supply of your infrastructure, of your stages, kiosks, and so on. And then we have Unveil Merch, which is responsible for the merchandising on our events. You also have Unveil Australia. And Unveil Australia is actually a small new company, brand new company that we created because we have a huge market to take in Australia, and we will try to organize a brand new music event. I'll come back to that just after. Something I want to show you before going to my Unveil Australia company, I want to show you how the multi-company synchronization has been done now. As you can see, you have multiple selectors to choose. And you can choose, here I chose to take all the purchase orders, sales orders, and my bills. And I even added a particular purchase journal that is my intercompany purchase journal. So it's really useful because now when I will create a sale order, it would automatically create a purchase order in my other company. Same, if I create a purchase order, it creates a sales order. And if I create an invoice, it will create a bill in the specific purchase journal of my other company. All right, enough explained about how this structure and how it works. Let's deep dive in Unveil Australia. So now I'm connected as Scott. Scott is responsible for the organization of Unveil Australia, well, for the organization of my events. And as I said, we want to organize a brand new event in Australia at Gold Coast, between Gold Coast and Brisbane. So what we have done first is creating a project in which, as you can see here, Gold Coast Festival, in which we have added some tasks. Now, you can directly see that now I have a top bar that is shared between my projects, and here I can choose anything that I want to see related to that project. So if I go into my documents, I have a document related to my merchandising catalog. I'll come back to it. And I have direct view on my dashboard as well. Here, when I go back into my project, you see also that I have discussed with my different fellow colleagues. And maybe something I want to show you as well is my analytics that I will show you later on. Here in this case, first, what I will show you is my Discuss app. As you can see here, it's really easy. You just have those discussing apps here. And I discussed with Alan about the fact that actually I need to rent my stage for my music event. Here, Georgina is responsible for the merchandising, and I asked her for merchandising. And I talked to Robin, to whom I asked if he can manage a loan for me. Well, that's it. Basically, what I will do now is jump directly in all the needs that I just numbered here. So now I'm connected as Alan. Alan is responsible, as I said, for the renting of all my infrastructure and so on. Here, Scott discussed with me, and he said he needed from the 30th of May until the 2nd of June a stage for in Brisbane. So I will prepare that directly through my rental application, and I'll just look up for my product. Oh, well, you see actually that I don't have that product in my inventory, but I anticipated that. I created a purchase order. I will close this one. Created a purchase order here, and it's this one. I know that I received everything, so I'll just validate my reception, and I even received my bill that is here. So now I go onto my bill, and something particular to my bill here is actually that what I use as infrastructure is actually an asset for me. So when I will confirm this one, it will create assets automatically. But first, I will match my purchase order because it is my purchase order 4, and I have my bill here. And thanks to my purchase matching tool, well, it's really amazing. But you see, there is a difference here. It's because the unit price has changed. Well, yeah, inflation is getting hard. Now I accept that difference because we really need it. I match it, go back onto my bill, and you directly see that my purchase order is linked. All right, I'll confirm this one. And when I confirm it, well, you directly see that I have 2 assets created. And that's actually because as we are an international structure, we need to post our assets in 2 different journals in order to have different ledgers. So when I deep dive in this one, you see that this one is related to my Belgian gap, and I added some types here. So I'll add its a stage structure, and I'll go to the next one, and you see that this one is related to my IFRS journal. So it's really useful. I'll just add the ruling for my IFRS, go back into my list, and confirm it right away. Well, I think I have everything now. I can create my sales order with my rental. I'll click onto my rental again, and now you see that I have everything in inventory. I can confirm this one. Oh yeah, something I want to show you. It's really a trick that I love. I just activate the debug mode, so the developer mode, and I go in the other info tab, and here you see that I can directly set the invoicing journal, and I will set it on intercompany sales by default. So something I want is the fact that by default, every time I choose Transfer Australia, well, I will have my invoicing journal, of course. So I'll set a default value. I know it's a nice trick. Here, I put the invoicing journal directly for all user, and I save default. So that from now on, any user that will create a sale order will directly post it on the right journal. Okay, I will confirm this one, and I will directly create my invoice for the full amount. And when I confirm it, it will obviously create automatically the bill in my other company. Okay, I think I have everything, and now I can switch to my other user, Georgina. And Georgina is responsible, as I said, for the merchandising. But something particular that I didn't mention yet is the fact that Sans Fair Merchandising has actually 2 different branches. because we segregated what we want depending on our type of customer. So I have Fair events to be that is related to the B2B merchandising, and Fair event to C, well, to the B2C. Here in this case, well, it is from a business to another business, so I will just create my sales order. And as you can see here, I received uh, all the details from Scott, and he needs customized caps, t-shirts, and hoodies. You see, it's really useful because I can keep discuss open, uh, and I'm still on another model. And I will go into Fair Australia, and actually instead of using all my products, I will go and I will use a quotation template. Here I have a quotation template related to all my custom products, and I don't need the banners and I don't need the classes. As you can see, my price list has been set automatically. And if I deep dive here into my contact form, it's thanks to the fact that I've added the price list onto my contact form. So every time I will choose Fair Australia, it will be in Australian dollar. So I need 800 hoodies, 2,000 t-shirts, and 1,000 caps. All right, I've got everything. Everything seems fine. Now I will confirm, and actually I will create my invoice, because here I will invoice, well, 30% of it, because I need to buy my merchandising before selling it to them. So of course I would like to have a down payment. When I create it, you see that it's automatically added as a customer invoice. Everything is set with the down payment and so on. But something that is way more visible now is the fact that I have my currency rate that is visible here. So from now I am good for Georgina. Can confirm this one. And what I will do is click on the print and send button. Alright, click on print and send. Now, when I click on print and send, of course, my customer is visible here. And actually, something I want to show you is the fact that I have specific legal notes. And this one is related to my export, so it is related to my fiscal position. And this one is related to my tax. So this means that I have two different legal notes on two different sites. And that's really useful because, well, I don't have always the same fiscal position that is merged with the same taxes. Well, that's it, I think, for Georgina. And I think Scott has a lot to do now. Because, as I said, I will close those. Um, well, we probably received my documents, the sales orders from my other companies that are created as purchase orders now. And I think I need to pay my bills. That hurts. So I will go into my purchase app, and you directly see that everything has been synchronized because I created it in Fair Supplies, and it comes automatically in my Fair Australia. Now something I see as well is the fact that I don't have my analytic accounts, and I will add it right away. So here it's purchase, it's APAC, and it's an electro type music event. And you see that when I add all those analytic distribution, I have a direct link with my budget. When I go into my budget, you see that I have a direct view on what is budgeted on my project. All right, let's go to my next purchase order. Oh yeah, need to confirm this one, of course. I go to the next one, and here my analytic distribution is already set because I already created an analytic distribution model. So it's so useful if you can create, oh yeah, actually I forgot that. I will go back to it and I will create a new model for this, so that from now on, if I have partner Australia and I have my project state structure, well, at any time I will always have to have the right analytic. Fine, let's go back to this one. I know it's fine, and I will confirm it. Now, actually, I confirm my two purchase order, and I will go back into my budget because that's where it's really useful to have that budget. Because as you can see, the committed amount has changed because the committed amount is related to my confirmed purchase order. So at any time, you can have a direct view on what is budgeted, what is your achieved, and what is your committed amount. And of course, committed amount will change from committed to achieved whenever you create a bill. All right, now let's go to my bank because, as I said, I need to pay some bills, and this one is a batch payment. From Odoo 18, we have now the option to add the batch payment, which is corresponding for at 100%, and you can directly drop down all the details related to your batch, which is of course so useful because you can verify all the payments related to your batch. So I validate this one, and this one is a loan that I need to pay, but to handle that, I have my loan management. So I will create my brand new loan because, as I said, I asked to Robin to have one, and I will upload it. You could create it manually and add all the lines, but I have received a document from my bank. Here it is. It's to refurbish our brand new office. Okay, it seems fine. I import it, and just by confirming it, Odoo will calculate automatically what are all my entries. And it's really useful because you will have at one side your monthly repayments, which are here, and you have the reclassification from a long-term to a short-term account in order to always have a proper reporting with the exact figures. All right, but that's the handling of my loan, but I still need to reconcile it. So here, well, as you see, it is my monthly repayment, and it is already on my short-term account. Now, that's thanks to a reconciliation model that I created here, and I just need to put an auto-validate in order to validate it automatically on the next run, or now just by running it manually. Okay, so that was it then for Scott. Scott paid everything. Everything seems to going into the right path. Let's now jump into Robin. And Robin will now verify all the reporting, verify the accounts, and make sure that everything is working fine. But before we start with that, well, let's dive into my log dates because, of course, I have put some log dates in order to be sure that nobody will disrupt my accounting, and I will remove them easily just by deleting everything, and I will put an exception for me for the 5 next minutes. All right, now that's done. I would like to talk about the shared accounts. Because from Odoo 18 now we can have a proper reporting on an account and create a mapping on the account that you will want to have from one company to another. So I'll deep dive in my chart of account, go into my revenues, and from here on you already see that you can choose to have one company or more than one company. And actually, what I will do here, I know that my accountant from Australia asked me to use the account 62,650 for the renting of the office. So what I will do first is group by account type, group by company, and I will go into my expenses. Wait, up, I'll close this one. I'll go into my expenses here. Oh yeah, something I forgot. Of course, if you want to use the multi-company setup, well, you need to be connected in your companies. All right. As you can see now, it's really easy to confirm a multi-company. Yeah, and actually, I can even look up for my company. So really, it's amazing to use that. I'll go back into my chart of account, and this time it will work. I have my account types. I have my companies, and I have all my expenses related to my two companies. Now, what I need to do is use the 613 rent of buildings, and they have the counterpart that it's 62, 650 in Australia, but I already created it. So what I will do is go onto my accounts, take them, and merge my accounts. You see that when I merge, well, and I go back onto my account, the 613, you now have two companies. When I go into my mapping, you now have the two codes on one and same account. So it's really useful when I will switch from my Belgian account to my Australian account. Well, actually, I will see the same figures, but adapting with different codes. All right, now I received another account in Belgium that need to be mapped. In this case, they didn't create yet an account, but that's not a problem because I will create the counterpart code directly from my mapping. And what is it? It's 62455. So that's the code for for temporary staff in Australia. So I just add the code for the mapping, I save, and from now on, we have the counterpart in Australia. Well, first, something you need to add. In order to see it, you need to add Australia here in your companies. Otherwise, it won't work. All right, I think, well, now that we have our accounts, I can change something in Soundsfair Australia because Scott said to me that he booked it on a temporary account in vendor bills. Here, human resources for you. All right. Oh, I see that Scott forgot to put two bills here. Well, I will add it. And actually, we need to add the analytic accounting as well. So do it right away so that we don't miss anything. Okay, seems fine. Okay, I'll confirm this one. Go back onto the other bill because, of course, it's important. Oh, yeah, and you see the legal notes here are visible. Just by seeing them print, the PDF is appearing here, so it's really nice. Again, my analytic. Yeah, Scott forgets some stuff really often. Here it's purchase, and again, it's for the electro. Confirm. Right. So what I was talking about is the fact that we had another account. The one we mapped. Well, now we can put it here, 62455, and you see that now it's hire temporary staff and person placed at the enterprise disposal. So it's exactly the same name, but it's another code. All right. Everything. Oh yeah. The bill date today we are the second. And now we have in the accounting with exactly the same counterpart account, everything in the accounting of our Australian one. Well, enough said. Now let's deep dive into our profit and loss because in the end, I want to see how the figures are and how it goes into my companies. So first of all, I can change my date here and I can easily go from a quarter to my month and so on. I will here take all my different companies and see everything on my accounts. Now, if I unfold all, you directly see that those are not mapped yet. So that means that if I switch from to Belgium, I have all my accounts, but I have some accounts without a code. That means that my code hasn't been mapped yet with my other accounts in my other companies. All right. Let's say that now I only want to have a look at Belgium. I remove everything. Just take this one, confirm. And what I'm interested in is my budget. I have a group budget and a Belgian budget. You see that on Belgium, I only had those revenue accounts, and those accounts are actually related to my group. So I added two different budgets, one that is local and the other one that is international. But you see that here I made a mistake, so I can even change this one. Sorry, actually, it should have been 7 million. And you see that by changing it, it adapts automatically. If now I go on a monthly base, I go and do a comparison, yeah, for 2 months, and I go on a monthly base, you directly see that all my figures are adapting and dividing the yearly budget on a monthly budget. But I will remove this one so that's easier for me because that's the one I'm interested in. And actually here we see that this figures is missing a zero. So it's 100,000, so it's a bit more. And I'll go back into my year and you see that now the figures are automatically adapted. All right, and now something more is the fact that I have multi-ledgers. Because of course, here in this case, I wanted to see what are my ledgers related to Belgium. But if I take everything, I can now have a view also on my Belgian gap or on my IFRS gap, and you even have the option to choose a specific journal with the drop-down menu. So it's way more visible. Your intercompany transactions that are excluded and so on. But enough said about that budget, because what I want to do is talk about the analytic budget. This is an analytic budget that I linked to my event in Australia. And as you can see, I have now a committed amount related to all my confirmed purchase order, and I have an achieved amount related to my bills. And I can even have a view on that project when I'm here connected and I go into my dashboard. I directly see that budget as well. Now I have a small problem. It's the fact that the budget was a bit too high. So what I will do is go back into my budget. I take it and I will revise it. By clicking on revise, actually it opens another budget in which I can adapt my figures in order to correspond to reality. $600, and I open this one, and when I go back into my budgets, you see that this one is revised, but I still have a link with my other budget. And if I go back into my project, have a look onto my dashboard, where I directly see that the allocated budget has been adapted and the new one is now used. So it's really useful if at some point, well, you say, oh, I made a mistake, or we're doing better or worse, you still have a direct view on it. Now, well, as the owner, what is important is knowing where we stand regarding the money we owe us. So I'll go into my age receivable here, and you have now the option to filter on based on the due date or on the invoice date. But what I prefer is on the due date because it gives a better view. And I will have a look on 45 days because I prefer it on 45 days. And you see that by adapting, now I have a view until 3 months, which is better in my opinion. But I have a problem with Bob Smith because this invoice, he doesn't want to pay it. So I would just add an annotation and say invoice will not be paid. Create provision, for instance. Alright, now you see that I have added a small annotation. If I click back on it, you have the date and my annotation, so that for all my accountants, it's way more visible when they come into it. Okay, there is something specific related to that invoice, and you can do that anywhere in our reportings in Odoo. Now that we talked about our customers, something I want to go through is the deferred revenues, because we have a VIP subscription for the customers that want to come at different music events. They pay a certain price and they can come at 3 different music events. And actually, I can now group by product or by product category, and I have a direct view on what was not deferred before my date and what is supposed to deferred after that date. So it's really useful for me to know, okay, what are my figures and to what is it related, because of course you can still play with your figures in order to have it deferred on different periods. All right, well, I think now we can go to the best part, well, the one I love, because of course, what is important is knowing what is the money that will come in and at what point and when. So in my dashboard, I added a cash flow report. So in my cash flow report, I can either choose to see it on a weekly base, on a monthly base, or on a quarterly base. I will just click on my monthly one, and you directly see here that I have my receivables, my payables, and the forecasted cash. And actually, well, those figures are not important, those are only the dates. But you see your current cash balance here, and you see that here, for instance, I need to pay some stuff. And the last month I have 5 million, so I'm not remembering. Oh, yeah, okay. So it's related to my intercompany sales that I did to Sans Fair merch and Sans Fair supplies, because of course, well, we ask for a fee of handling their accounting and to verify how good they are. So it's really useful. Let's go back into my dashboard, because you have a direct view at any time. What are your figures? You see your accounting entries. You can just click on it, and you also see what will be the cash in the future. I have to say that until February 2025, it seems fine. You see here that we have a double entry for salaries because, yeah, in Belgium we have a double salary pay. So everything seems fine. We are now at 2 million two, and we'll be at two and a half. Seems okay to me. could be better, I have to admit, but at least I have a clear view directly from here. All right. Well, I think that's it then for my side. Let's go back onto my log dates and re-put it here. Oh, but you see, I had an exception for me for the next 5 minutes, and it's already set up automatically. But I mean, now we are finished for our second quarter, so I will re-put it. No, 30th of September. No, it's fine, and everything is fine. Okay, I will just discard, leave it like that, and it seems okay to me. So I pictured you a world where managing all your businesses is not a complex juggling act, but something seamless from one central hub. A world or the world where all your companies communicate together on a single platform. A business ecosystem that operates through one powerful tool. And that tool is Odoo 80. All right, thanks. Thank you very much. Thanks, Adrien.
That was a nice presentation.
Thank you.
Let's have some. Let's read the question of the audience. The first one is about PEPL, right? Can PEPL be used in a multi-company environment, including countries outside of Europe?
Yes, well, we have a list of PEPL countries that are used. So we think we have Singapore, Australia, Japan. Well, I'm not sure, so you have to look it up. But yeah, outside of Europe, we have several companies that are possible.
Okay. How do you actually deal with multi-company using different accounting standards, for example, Belgian GAAP and IFRS?
Well, as I showed, you can use now the multi-ledger feature. So that means that you can post on different journals. And of course, well, related to the deferred revenue, you can look at what is not started yet and recalculate related to the assets you create based on your account. You can link an asset model and link it to different ledgers, different journals. So that's how you handle all those IFRS-related entries. But for other IFRS standards, well, we can still discuss, but you need to recalculate in specific journals for sure. And then use the multi-ledger that I showed during the presentation.
Right. You've been talking about journals here. Again, do we have multiple GAAP journals automatically created when we use localization?
No. So you have to create everything from scratch. So the only one we have by default is a customer invoice, vendor bill, miscellaneous entry, and bank. And of course, you customize your accounting to what suits you the best.
Okay, that makes sense. Now, about the chart of account, can we merge or like harmonize the chart of account that we used to have with an import?
Okay, I get it. Yeah, indeed, you can use the ID of your account and create in the field mapping the mapping with the other codes related to your other companies. But keep in mind that if you already created your account in the other company, then you have to use the merge because you can't merge it. You can't create a mapping with already existing accounts.
Okay. We now have a question that is not especially linked to accounting, but I think it might be interesting for people who don't know that part of Odoo. So why do we share products? The companies may have different activities, for example.
Yeah, good point. Well, why do we share products? Well, if you want to synchronize everything from bills to invoices, you have to share your products. What you can do in order to have a clear view on which company it is related to, you could use the tags on your products to differentiate to which company it's related, so that at any time you have a favorite filter on those tags and clearly have a view on only related to your own company.
All right. The next question is about the budget. Let's have an example. We have a 1-year budget or 12-month budget. How do I modify this one? Can I change it month by month? Can I change it over the year? And then how does it split into months?
Okay. Well, you have the two options. If you have a yearly one, you could go on the month and do a comparison on the 12 month and change it and then re-put it in a year and it's recalculated automatically. Or you can create a yearly one and Odoo will automatically divide it by 12 when you have a look on your 12 month.
Okay.
And if it's related to analytic budget, well, what I would propose is then create an analytic budget per month. Because you have a date option, you can do it on a whole year, or you can do it on monthly base so that you can compare on a...
So we have several options.
Yeah, indeed.
I think you have answered that question, but maybe to make sure that people understand it, how to use the same chart of account if one company is in Germany and the other one is in the US, for example.
Yeah, okay. Well, exactly like I said, you have to map those accounts. So you can either choose to merge or you will have to map with new accounts. So if you have already existing accounts, then you need to merge them.
And then next question that is linked to it, if we want to do consolidation, how do we integrate those companies together if they have different taxes?
Well, the taxes are related to specific accounts. So I suppose that those accounts are specific to the company. So you can either choose to leave it only in the specific company, so to not map it, or you map your VAT, well, your tax-related accounts with each other in order to have a clear view on one.
Yeah. Okay. A question that we had in your previous talk. We have more than 70 companies, each with its own chart of account. Mm-hmm. Would we have to change something technically when upgrading to Odoo 18?
Well, yes. Fortunately, when upgrading, you will have to remap everything in order to have a proper mapping with the new feature.
But I guess it's worth it to do it.
It's worth it, for sure.
All right. A question about analytic accounting. How does Odoo distribute the cost? Let's say that you want to choose 30% on one and 70% on another cost center. Is that possible?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it is perfectly possible. Actually, when you click on your analytic distribution, you can create several lines and you put a percentage at the end of the line. So you could create an analytic distribution for one bill line with 5 analytic different distributions with a different percentage, and it will impact your budget accordingly.
Yeah, okay. Regarding assets now, how are assets activated automatically when posting the bill?
Okay, well, you have to go onto your fixed asset or current asset type account, and you will see that by diving into your account, you have an automation tab. You go onto that automation tab and you can create in draft. From there, that's where you can link an asset model, and in that asset model, that's where you can add different ledgers in order to have a multi-ledger posting.
Okay, thanks. Regarding the batch payments management, can you maybe re-explain that quickly?
Yeah, fine. So you will have a lot of lines of bills. You will take all your lines, create a payment, and all those different payments can be integrated in one batch payment. So that means that, as I showed before, when you drop down, you have a lot of payments. That's because we take one big amount that will go out of your, that will be paid thanks to that batch. Sorry.
Yeah. Okay. Then let me read the next question. Do we need to use the interco journal to post manual journal entries in order to identify them as intercompany transactions?
Really good question. Yeah, indeed. We always say to our clients to create intercompany sales and intercompany journal, intercompany purchase journals, in order to clearly identify what are the intercompany transactions, so that with the multi-ledger, you can choose to have either the intercompany transactions or the local gap without the intercompany transactions, for example.
And actually, Robin has shown us a nice trick to automate this and have the right journal set on the right.
Yeah, indeed. So yeah, indeed, when you go into the synchronization of your companies, well, you can set your preferred purchase journal. That's where you need to put the intercompany purchase. And as I showed with the debug mode, you can put the intercompany sales and put it as default so that it will come every time you use it.
Okay. Again, about intercompany transactions, how do you get them out of, well, how do you have a report on them only?
Well, multi-ledgers are actually excluding some journals. So what I would do is creating a multi-ledger in which you exclude all the regular journals, I would say, so that you only have the intercompany journal related. So that could be intercompany sales, purchase, miscellaneous. So you really have to exclude everything else, and instead you will have only the intercompany transactions.
Yeah, that makes sense then. Is it also possible to consolidate balance sheet, I guess?
Yeah. It's exactly the same way of working. I always go through revenue because that's profit and loss we prefer to see on a consolidated basis, but there is no restriction on what type of account you use.
Okay. I'm not sure to understand that question, but let's try. Maybe you understand it. Can you add transfer pricing rules for intercompany sales and purchases?
No, we are not that far, and transfer pricing is really particular to to consolidation. So we are not trying to have a full consolidation software. We want to have a consolidated view on our figures, but something like that, like transfer pricing or percentage of ownership and so on, we are not that far. Maybe we'll come back to it for the percentage of ownership, but can be really tricky because if you have a percentage of ownership, you have to compare it with the amount of your shares and so on and so on. So at that point, if we're going that point, then we're more going into a consolidation software instead of consolidated reporting in an accounting application.
All right.
But it's the first version. Sorry, it's the first version. So of course, always open to feedbacks and so on, like anything else in Odoo. So don't hesitate to come to us, and we'll try to make it better with the time, of course.
About the loan management, is it only for borrowings, or can we also use it for loan investments?
I suppose. Well, it depends. You can import an Excel file with everything in it. If you want to import on a regular base everything related to your investments, it could work, but I'm not sure if it's really useful in that case. But if the other question is, can we have a view on what you lend to someone instead of borrowing? That part is not yet in Odoo 18.
Okay. Well, how many legal entities are possible in a single database? Well, I haven't tried, and I think Robin either, but it's quite a lot.
Yeah, I heard someone saying 70 companies, so I suppose
70 is definitely possible.
Yeah, I think it's endless, to be honest.
Let me have a look if we have something else. Yes, already have this. Do we have branches in Odoo?
Yeah, well, I showed it with Unveil B2B and Unveil B2C. It's actually one legal entity, but we differentiate it with branches to have a proper reporting or to send proper invoices as well. Because actually, when we have branches, when you send your invoice, the invoice layout is particular to that company.
Okay, well, I think that's about it.
Okay, fine.
So, thanks a lot for that presentation.
Thanks, Adrien. Thank you very much for being here, and enjoy your Odoo experience.